Here, we are going to show you a film. Yes. You know, the crowd will come just because of what you are going to show a film. When there's just you just go there and speak, somehow people might not be interested much. But when you are using the media, first of all, audience will be, more. At the same time, if you think about the retention, what we talk about in terms of pinpointing points is also that. And also, the attention is going to be increased, right? So the attention in terms of the focus on the audience, the attention will be high because as I say that if somebody is just speaking for a long time, it's easier for someone to start dozing off. Unlike if there are things to show, right? I even gave an example of you are watching these so-called talk shows, right? Oprah Winfrey, whatever. Had it been there were nothing to be shown, just maybe people just coming there, like what we see in some of our Malayan television. Sometimes you be changing channels, you just find that when I go color room, they are chatting, whatever is they're talking about, you don't know. After 1 hour, you go there again, you still find they're still there. You can't even just be watching, like they say on television. They say if there's one element that is supposed to be avoided on TV, it's what is called the talking heads, right? If there are people talking, you just have somebody talking, people just see like the heads are talking. So they say that is what is called talking heads. So you can't have talking heads for something like 1 hour. Even if what you're discussing is good, right? That is going to be a little bit boring, right? Unless if you are showing some other things using the media. So I think we are going to explore that when we talk about the media. As I say, it does not just mean what I've used. This is just one form, PowerPoint. It's just one of them. But when you use any other, or no wonder sometimes they just say instructional material, because some they might not fall into the media category per se. Some of them, for example, we're going to explore when you say using real things, right? So it's just one of them, but we have got so many other, ways. So creating interest, stimulating thoughts, injecting humor, right? Which is an element that I was even saying that if there's something that almost everybody loves, is humor. People who are serious all the time, even if there is something, at least there should be a humor somewhere. People should laugh a little bit somewhere. It helps to even make people. I think we've seen people whereby they don't know concentrate, and all of a sudden the class laughs. Even the person who was sleeping will wake up. What are they laughing about? It's something like that. So humor, is something that is also important that can be used. The media can be used for that. So going for the types of instructional media. I think in some other form, they might just talk about few of them. Like in some other areas or some other places, they will just say audio, maybe non-projected visuals and projected videos or something like that. But now in this one, I tried to a little bit expand it, right? So you have display formats, right? Although what you're going to see, notice here, some of the more or less like types might be falling under another type. Some of them you see according to what they are. But now you have what are called display formats. So an example there is say like the chalkboard, the whiteboard, flip charts. Like chalkboard, it's like you're just going to write there, right? There's a whiteboard, like you use a pencil marker, something like that, right? So it's just you want the people you display it there. People just have to see it. Oh, not there's anything else, and you have to do. But the display format here, people could say that is you should think about. There's nothing like animation, There's nothing like maybe additional use of maybe papers and the like. This is just like um, example of the blackboard, a chalkboard, and maybe an example of a whiteboard, something like that. So that could be one of the type, right, of instruction, which is in Malawi has been very common. And up to this stage, it has been very common. Oh, we started with the chalk in the past. When you say you are a teacher, we have been all the chalk in my hands. Nobody even did research to say what's the impact of chalk in people on people's hands, because there should be an impact. But nobody did that, because you know, when they did that research, every government cannot approve it. Say no, you discourage teachers from using chalk, right? But now, since we are migrating from chalk to pencil markers, you know, they might accept that research. Oh, you can go ahead, okay, but something like that. So then we have got audio media, right? Audio media, you're talking about cassettes, CDs, and audio media, as you can see in the name, is talking about audio is something that you can hear, right? Not something you can see, but is the media that will just use the sound, because I don't want to say the voice, but it's a sound. It could be voice, it could be maybe sound of something, right? Maybe the bush, whatever. So as I'm saying, when we come to the projected visuals and the projected visuals, that's where I was saying that some of these might fall under some. These that projected visuals and the projected visuals are a little bit like broader terms. It's not like direct, like when you say audio, we are focusing on just one thing, right? Like as if it's all the sound. But when you say that the projected visuals, what are we talking about? When you say project, it means you are superimposing something on something, right? This is a projector. What I'm sure, what is being shown here is not coming from here. It's coming from here. It has gone there. Now it has been projected on the wall. See? So projection is like anything that is, as I'm saying, uh, as I think we are seeing the examples here. Yeah, so sorry. I think you are supposed to amend the fall. I'm talking about projected visuals. I think you are supposed to stop me with the examples. Yeah. So now the projected, it means it's the opposite of this. Project, no one that projector. But teach project. So projected visuals are now those instructional materials whereby you project or you show the visuals on the something, right? You are not going to take the actual. For example, if I've got a paper, I'm not going to take a paper and show you the paper. I'm going to take the paper and put it somewhere on the those which slide. There's a certain this is overhead project or something. Then it will show somewhere. So the best example is the film projectors. Film projectors, you have those film reels. They will take them and put them somewhere. There's light there. Light will pass through those steps, and then it will be projected somewhere. So it's something like that. So since I've jumped and projected, on the projected, you have film strips. As I give an example here, you have got this is an example slide. This is a projected media. I'm using the projector to show you something, right? That projected, as I say, is now, instead of projecting there, for example, if this is a paper, right? I will have taken the actual paper in my hand and show you the actual paper that you see here, right? Instead of taking the paper and putting it somewhere to show somewhere, because it's different. I think you can see the advantage and disadvantages. Because if I take the actual paper, what it means, if I have to show 10 people, it means I have to show you individually, right? While this one, if I can have maybe even 20, maybe 50 people, I can just show it once. 50 people will see it, right? That's why if somebody would ask you, okay, what could be the advantage of maybe projected media over non-projected? So projected, it's easier to show so many people the same, maybe let me say visuals at the same time, as opposed, and it can be a little bit, I don't want to go to cheap, but maybe relatively cheap. But if it's had it been, it was they 100 people, I want to show them. If it's not projected, imagine if there is uh, let me say even the real things, because the real things is one of that projected. So I have got something here, kachidore. So I want to show 100 people. What does that mean? I have to be showing each and every one, right? Iwe waona waona, okay, yes waona waona, something like that. But if I want to show using a projected uh, visuals, I just have to find somewhere. Okay, where can I show this? Okay, what can I do? Maybe let me scan this and put it in the laptop and connect to the projector and superimpose it on the wall. Everyone will see them, something like that. So that's the thing. On the that projected, as I said, that projected. I don't know what we're going to talk about the more later on, but you have got what is called the layer. Layer is like is part of real things, although that's a real objects. Layer is whereby you have real tangible materials. Still pictures is just like now. I know here now they've been talking about still pictures. As I said, that is just like that, a photocopy of a picture. A picture that is where there's no motion, right? It's just like a photograph, right? A photograph, you would motion, so that the actual still picture is part of it. Graphic materials, any graphic materials you can have physically, and the real objects and all those. So, I mean, this is just an example. I think when we're talking about these materials, it's easier to see them when you go to kindergartens, whatever. Like you even you could go in here when you go to Bambino during the weekend, the summer, all those classes. You see them; they will have a lot of small real things around, a lot of papers on the wall, or something like that. Okay, okay. So if we were asked to differentiate projected is it the same as saying that using projected visuals to create the materials manually or projected use a device? Yeah. That's a different. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, because that projected, what I'm just saying is, I'm saying, imagine what I'm showing you here. Had it been, I didn't have what I didn't have this, right? I didn't have even the laptop, because laptop is more or less like I'm using it to project it, right? So what would I do? I would have to print it out. After printing it out, I'll bring it into paper and show you paper. What did you see here? So that's not projected. But if I've taken that and put it in a soft copy, then I project. No one is projected. It's like you are not just, showing directly to the person. You are. It's shown somewhere else. As you can see here, you are seeing it on the wall. You can see it somewhere else, which means that's the thing. But what you are saying, your explanation is correct. If it's that can be the answer, right? So projected, as I'm saying, that is over. That's what I say. Overhead projection, film strips, slides, and all that. And also we have here some of the repetition. We have done projected materials. That's saying projected material. Audio, I already talked about it. Then you have got motion media, right? Although then maybe you could even draw a line between the motion media and the projected material, because there are similarities, right? Because the motion media could also be projected, right? The only characteristic of a motion media is that there is motion, there is movement, right? There is animation. It's not static, because the projection of non-projected media is like the way this one is. There's nothing is moving, right? It's just pause there. But now you could argue, because some could argue, okay, what if I'm projecting? If there's a film, then I'm projecting it, right? So that could also be, could also fall under projected media. But the only thing is, if you can say that projected media, and you also talk about like because here, if you can see example, they didn't say like let me say a movie. You just say like a film strip, like what you are projecting is that strip of a film on the wall, right? But when it's come to actual moving images, it falls or under motion media. You know that is now you are trying to show people moving images, right? So that could be a category to say. So there are elements that you use, because you could decide to say, okay, because of this, to just explain, it would be impossible for these people to read, right? What if I have maybe a short film to just show them how it's done, right? So that method would be, so I believe, I'm saying that it has been experimented that, it can be one of the use. It will depend on what you are teaching them, right? Because somehow you teach people are just telling them, they will not understand it. But when you show them the demonstration, they say, oh, this is how it's done. So motion media, you have that. Then you have like here, I think this the other ones. I'm not going to dwell much on them, like the hypermedia, then the gaming. You usually hypermedia is more to do with the internet, right? Is to do with the hypertext, right? Because the internet is all about hypertext. And when you say hypertext, it's the text that jumps. Maybe we don't concentrate it much, but when you're on the internet, do you have to open pages? Pages, usually you just click, it will be to a page. That's jumping. You jump from one area to another area. So the jumping of the text is the one is called the hypertext. So if they talk about HTTP, you remember that URL, right? HTTP is hypertext markup language. So this is just to do that. You will decide to do that, and then I think so. We'll talk about later on the gaming media, because it's also another area, right? I think if you think about the kids are easier understand something like that. And as you go in some of these, I talked about Lilia is real things. I talk about them already. So on the real things, you can have real things, which they could say Lilia, right? Like real things, just the name. So on the real things, you can have unmodified real things, unmodified real things, right? So the terms are not confusing, but I think when you check the examples, it's simple. They're not complicated, right? What I'm saying, for all of us who have been maybe at the standards, somehow they could take, when they take something like the actual thing, you were talking about an animal, you bring the actual animal. That's a unmodified new things. You didn't change anything, right? But if we bring a toy that is looking like an animal, designed like an animal, that is just a modified thing. You are showing a toy, but it is designed like you have modified it. So I think we're going to talk about it. And the specimen, we know that in our science clubs, when the specimen, we jump this ufa, this flower, and then they will bring iodine, drop iodine there to show good taste for starch. Something like that. That's specimen. So still, they are more of a real thing. I think I need to behave on my hands. I touch my. Okay. The thing is, when you talk about displays, just thinking about this normal display media, we talked about like the chalkboard, the board whereby we use the whiteboard. Characteristics of it, that format could be, let's say, economical, because you could think about it, instead of buying petrol markers. Oh, I know it's petrol marker. Instead of buying, this projector, and other equipment, you say, okay, let me just buy markers and let me buy chalk. And also it's easy to prepare, right? Because for us to use this projector, you have seen even what we are using, the recording here, you can see what it takes. We have to have, a recorder somewhere, we have to have light, we have to have electricity. But if you say, okay, let's just use the board, just be a matter of taking a chalk or petrol mark and use it. So it's easy to prepare, and it is effective for a small group. Your small group is effective, and this could be a disadvantage on the lights. That could be on a disadvantage in the sense that if it needs light, right? I know it could be a disadvantage. Like when they say this light, if the light is not enough, adequate, it can be a problem for people to see what's being written there. Say indicated the okay, somehow maybe I'll start to think about it. When you say atmosphere of informality, you say, because when you say formality, whereby you make it formal, or maybe you have got papers and you have got this, but when you do that, as if it's something informal. So when you're using a chalk, when you're using a marker, somehow there's that feeling of informality. The meaning is it's as if it's something whereby uh, I don't know how I can put it, but something that is informal, something like that. And also, it helps if you're using this one in the real-time writing. When you are using display, you could be saying something immediately. You are writing there, so that's the real-time writing. Because for me to write something on this other formats like this, I'll be taking time to type, right? Maybe to write type first. I know you can argue that maybe the speed, depending on the speed of the type, one who is typing, but still that could be taken as an advantage. And also, there is this element whereby they say it facilitates interactivity or user participation or spontaneity, because usually, I think if you have passed through secondary or primary, I don't believe it's primary, I don't know if secondary nowadays, if they still use chalk, maybe some school they do use chalk, but usually when they use chalk, I think most of the teachers don't like it to just be writing. They say no, they want to be writing and they want you to be engaging him, the person, the teacher, right? I don't believe that the teacher will just come and write from. I know there are sometimes where they say, Muslim notes, you'll be writing notes. It's a little bit boring to say you just have to be writing, right? But once you are doing that, there is interaction with the audience. Because there is a scenario whereby I could come here, I could prepare something like this, and I would not want to interact much. It will happen because I'll just be switching. Ta, 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 ta. While that one, you have to write, then you pause, you say something. So that's what they argue to say it encourages that. But as I say, as people in the media, no wonder I think you know about the theories, right? We talked about that there are theories. I believe every one of you understand what a theory is, right? You understand what a theory is, Do you? When you say theory, it means a theory is not, it's like, it's the opposite of a fact, right? When it's a fact is a proven theory. You could say that, okay, lero kukakaguli dzuwa layaka, kumapaga chakucha kuti. That's a theory. So for me to prove what you're saying is true, I'll body that. Okay, dzuwa layaka, if it's true. Nikapaga the same thing, it's happened so many times. It will now become a fact. But if it's not going to be the way you are saying, it will still be a theory. I will say, no, that's not true. And I could create my own understanding. So, but some of this, I'm saying, when some of most of the concept in education, or even in journalism, but different sectors. They are created by different scholars, different philosophers, different scientists. Now, most of them, they came from a theory, and some are still a little bit like a theory. So some of them are taken to be facts because there's no one who tried to test them and disprove them. So when they do anything, any claim here, you need to think about it and try to reason. Is it true? And try to ask questions to see if it's true, because some could be questionable. So that's why I'm saying there could be some other points that could be arguable to say, okay, this is true, but maybe what if there is this? What if there is this? So I'm just saying some of the, maybe let me say, points that are given here. Some of them you will say, okay, they fit for this, but some you will say, okay, but there's maybe this side of it. Yeah. So I'm just encouraging you to say, if you see a point that is contentious, you should think about it and try to see if it's true, because some could not be true. Okay. Now the projected material examples here. I talked already about the photographs, diagrams. What am I saying here? Let me see. Just say, okay, let me be clear here, right? Because here this can be confusing. Here said that projected material, now it's talking about photographs, okay, diagrams, okay. This diagram, what we are saying is as long as they are not projected, because you can have the same photographs, the same diagrams, anything else. Now, if they are displayed like this, projected like this, it will not become that projected. Now it's projected, right? But as long as they are not projected, they are that part of the that projected. So you have this illustrate concepts, it has that directed instructions and all these. What do we see? Most of the like elements like this that you see them put them on the board, all those, right? So those are a part of it. Then example could be print media, right? Print media is the best example of that projected material, because the print media, what are we talking about? Print media, we're talking about one of the vehicles of mass communication that uses text and still images for communication, and the materials are printed on paper, right? That's the print media, right? So print media, you're talking about example of print media, newspapers, magazines, think about maybe novels, journals, and all printed materials, right? So print media is one of the best, maybe it's the best example of that projected materials. And the group of media that includes the information carrying devices in which information is printed on the paper and mass produced, because those are new key elements. Because when we're talking about media is not just for like mainly when we think about, when we talk about the media, we're not talking about just show, I mean, information given to one person, two persons. Usually, if it's a media or medium, because media is plural, so singular is medium. So if it's a medium, should you have that capability of giving that information at the same time to a number of people, right? Because that's the idea of the media. When you think about print media, newspaper got to get the morning, it does not go to one person, right? It goes to thousands of people at the same time. On radio, the same thing. When somebody is broadcasting on radio, the same time people are going to be listening to, it's the same time are going to be listening to in different areas. Television is the same, right? So print media, the only difference is it's now in printed form on the paper. And as I say, examples, you see that the groups, books, you have journals, periodicals, course materials, pamphlets, booklets, and other printed materials. And these cover a wide range of subjects that are used for different purposes. I know where we're coming from. We've been having books from primary school, Aboma, right? Giving you those books, and you know, you are even proud when you were at the primary school that you are having a book for standard 4, right? Standard 5, right? So you feel good that, okay, you sit down somewhere and go check the stories, check all everything. But with the education system, you can see that you can have all sorts of educational materials, right? But for you to know that although in those books we have got what they want us to learn, what they want kids to learn, it's not enough to just have books, right? No wonder when you go to these expensive Montessori's, you see even just walking around, it's just colorful, right? You have books, and they're colorful books, right? Illustration books. Then you have things, I mean, the different type of materials on the wall. So you have materials on the wall, which is like non-projected. Then you're going to have real things, smart toys, around. Eh? And then you are going to have, and they can also use this projected media, right? They can use projected media based on what they are teaching, right? So, I mean, they try to utilize like all these formats, yeah, because as the education goes further, I mean, one day, I know there's been experiments to say, okay, maybe we can just use one, but if you think about now, if you think about the printed material, then they say online learning, they are like combining, like they take the printed material, they put it in soft copy. Now you have to use like hypertext eh, to use to connect to the people. So it's more or less like a combination of all these can make it much more effective. I would say print media, um, print media materials, they have been the mainstay of instruction because they are relatively cheap, easily accessible, and can be used for a long time. That's why when we are coming from, if there were materials in government school that government gave out for instruction were printed materials, right? But books. If though you don't have books, you feel like you are not going to learn, right? You don't have a book, right? But now, why was that the reason? These are the reason. It's relatively cheap. If you think about other bees, it's a little bit expensive, right? And now, if you think about the print media, it's relatively cheap, easily accessible, and also can be used for a long time because books to reach a level that it has completely finished. I don't know. It's maybe only if there are accidents, or deliberately destroying it. But I've never seen like a book that I had for education where we read it and it completely like worn out. Right? We have got books that we say these books, I think, are careless of some other kids. You say this is, I think, it is destroyed. But usually it stays longer, right? So that's one of the reasons. And also, as you can see here, I think here they say the means that they can easily get out of date. I think this is a disadvantage now, right? Because if you think about books, when you think about the advantages, think about what could be the advantages of using print media, and what are the disadvantages of using print media. For you for you to easily come up with advantage and disadvantage, it's just a matter of comparing it to electronic media, right? When you compare it, you're easily going to see the differences. Because why electronic media came, it came because of those problems that were there with the print. But print media was the first, right? Before television, before radio, the first type of media that emerged was the print media, right? It came in the night, established itself around the 1930s, 1940s, during the war. No, before that, it was 18 something. What am I saying? It should be before, even maybe 17, because in Malawi, the oldest media in Malawi platforms is Daily Times. But it's Daily Times because it was not decoded Daily Times. It was, I think you have seen when you take Daily Times, somewhere there's a year, somewhere 18 something. I don't know if you have noticed that, front page. But that is the year that it first started, but it was not Daily Times. It was started by a certain grouping a long time ago during the colonizers. It was called the planter. There were those white guys now, they were doing plantation. So it started from the planter, then it changed to another thing, then it Kamuzu bought it. Then it came to Daily Times. So print media has been there for a while. But the electronic media like television, radio has been around, TV, popularity of it like television. Film has been an old one, like 17 something it was. I mean, 1917, whatever, you have films like 1917. But as television, it was popularized from 19, maybe 40 to 50, something around that way, whereby now it was now now still the case. Why it became popular, it was because of the same thing as I'm saying, that if you think about updating, if something has happened today at the Maleba newspaper today, and something has changed, the same story has changed, there's a new development, can you manage to update it today? Kuti taire Bajaj news yali lero lomwe kandi wisit. You wait for kuti isa tukamao. That's difficult to update, But maybe if it's you are online, what happens? Something is happening, breaking news, Pop, they will update it. A development news, I was about 3 minutes ago, this happened. After 3 minutes, they will update it. So this the problem of this print media is that now update, because if you give out books to students, now you have seen Mama Kama edition. But editions are just the updates. They have adding something. Now, for you to update the books, it means how another book update. Then after that, you should take them, replace them all the book. So it's a little bit a problem when you think about the updating. Okay. What else? So that's a disadvantage. They can easily get out of date. Textbooks, especially, provided a convenient way to access information. Okay, that's an advantage. Student control that use says they can usually skip areas, but they should serve mainly as the complementary materials to you as teacher that are not of interest. So I think this what it's saying is an advantage there whereby there's control, right? Whereby they say if there are students, they are reading, they are not interested to, if I one area, they can skip easily. See, there are pages. They will just say, okay, topic page 90. They will just go on page 90, right? See, and then so it's easily that they can control in what they are reading in this material easily, right? And also, the teacher usually, as some say, that he encourages them to use the students use the books as complementary. Usually, I don't like them. I don't think there's a teacher whereby they just come to say, okay, these are the books. So had it been it was like that, I'll have just prepared the books and give you the books. Oh, Napaka law to college. They'll just say, okay, mabugu diawa. But why do they have to say, okay, you should go into a classroom? Because those books are not like only you are going to be learning out of it. They are going to be acting as complementary material, right? You come here, I will explain a little bit. You understand some parts, then for you to get more knowledge, you go take the books and as a complementary to complement whatever you are doing. Okay. Okay, what else? So maybe they talking about this. This could be also applicable to electronic or media, whereby say periodicals generally do not. I think they're talking about this. She's talking about the updating on the shoe shelves. But although they are odd, maybe there's an element of whereby if you want to have reference materials, it's easier to go if you go to the library. you find the old papers, maybe the section, and you go there and you get the reference easily. And maybe, I know if you think about electronic, you have to think about specifics on the internet section that you want. I mean, book that you want. If you think about it, the library, you can argue that they will sort the materials for you, right? They will tell you a section that this is a section for this kind of material. But meaning you can just go at the section for materials that you want to try to find. So that could be an advantage, but still, advantages could be more. You could think about some other advantage you think, and also some other disadvantages because they might be more. And this one, that's why I say that it's funny because you most of the time when you have materials like fresh, for example, newspaper, I don't think that you can go today to read a newspaper. Yeah, where's what? Usually, newspaper you like for today. If it's West, come to West, yeah, yesterday, right? But most of the times you want to listen to one. But now, after all these papers, you read them. Where are they going to be deposited? Library, right? So library, as I say, library is like, it seems to be like a depository of print media and provides opportunities for you as a teacher to broaden your scope and prepare you for your lessons. You mean you don't just have to say good about deliver data. You just have to go to library if you want to teach something, and you are going to find the printed materials packed there. So that could be an advantage. You said, okay, it's a little bit cheaper because on the internet, all those books you are finding there, imagine you have to be searching them to browse. One time, how long are you going to take browsing? How long are you going to take to even, how much data do you need to search all those books? So that could be an advantage that you're going to talk about. It also serves to broaden the minds of students and to teach them skill of self-study. So that's an example, a good example. Because it's a book, December from 10 o'clock, we'll be waiting. So it means because it's a book, you want to see the student to take the book, carry it sign it as well. So it's like you are teaching them not just to get the information, but you're also teaching them the discipline of self-study, right? You should be able to solve. Usually, if you think as opposed to electronic material, whereby you can't even be assured that the person is studying. And the thing nowadays, think about the distraction that is there on the internet, right? Because electronic material nowadays usually find them on the internet. So you go there on the internet with the sole purpose, I want to look for books about books for this subject. Where are you going to end up to? You are going to end up where you did not plan to go. Because on the internet is obviously, it's not that you wanted to go there, but on the internet, that's why Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire out of something that he claimed to provide free. How can you become a billionaire for providing something free? That's the question, right? The thing is, it's not free as per se, because what we do, our information, whatever we do on the internet or on Facebook, that's what he gets, right? Because the politicians, what you are doing on the internet, you expose it. You don't wonder him. I think you see what he did. He deliberately have a place whereby he say, what's on your mind? Deliberately. Because if they say, okay, you want to post something, you are going to think about it, prepare, meditate, but what you can say at that moment, it will be the real you. Because it's going to be, no wonder what most of the people, what they post on the what's on my mind, they will say something outrageous, and you even be surprised. Even this person can say these things. So what the Facebook guys they do, they analyze what your activities, right? Because if I can say that, if I observe you for 5 years, I can be able to know who you are. That is okay, Mama, what's okay? kena ko uyo wabiro kwa kisa TV wasegula channel chakuti kena kwamba ndapo mpaka observe 1 year second year popata bila hivi 2 years ndikadumbaza kuti uyu apa kuti asero apa panga chakuti ndikuti I know everything about you. So this information, these are the information zimene ma politician akufuna, ma advertisers akufuna, and actually all these people they want those they like we need to find, like for example advertisers they say we need to find about sneakers, but they don't know who to target that but Mark Zuckerberg, because you've been there for a while this person he liked this person about a sneaker. Now, all of a sudden you open the page, advertisement, yes, sneaker, you could do some value. And you even wonder, how did they know you like sneakers? And for you to test it, when you open your Facebook, try to go there, see adverts as a batch. You discover there will be adverts of the things that you like. But you don't have friends in common. Or friend suggestion. The first suggestion is a person who told me you didn't indicate how did they know that's a question. So that's how dangerous this guy is. I don't want he's rich because advertisers, even about politicians, what they do, I'm not going to if we are spending money, when you advertise using a print media or the media, it's like you are guessing. When you put it on the radio, you are just guessing. I'm guessing this time and to happen to go for now. But what if how do you know what it might be so guess maybe some other adverts will be effective, some will not, because it's a trial and error. But this Facebook guy, the Mutogudi, can send the adverts directly to people who like that thing. Because I could see so politicians, they do that. There was even a scandal, I think you can check it up there. There was a scandal with Mark Zuckerberg. He went to Europe, to European Parliament to explain, because he was taken to task. Because there are some other organizations, companies whereby they use media to help different entities for advertisement, promotion. So but data of people from, I think millions of people from Facebook were found with that company. So they say, how did they found? Because he said, no, we don't share information, personal information, Facebook to other companies. And when he was querying, no, we just gave them what they wanted to do. And I said, no. It means he sells luxury. And it doesn't even need it. You should say something. Whatever you do, you are like, your comment, those are important, because you know. So I mean, just an example of what happens. So it's I'm just giving an example. That's how destructive, when you think about that type of media, which is not printed, especially when it comes to electronic media, that for concentration's sake, people will prefer print media, right? No wonder I'm talking about the media library. It's easier. Library so that get phone so that could able to work for 1 hour, 2 hours, so that vegetables it's likely impossible. At least by that time we don't concentrate, but when you are here, even on the Facebook or computer like this, and it's easier if you don't have the internet, right? But when you have the internet, it's a little bit distraction, so that could be an advantage of print media, although it's a little bit an old school type of media, right? Whereby they say, no, at have been they don't have books, something like that, especially Mahadi books, but you need electronic books, right? But I have said it before, having electronic books, sending them to students, and but I shared them, I told them these are the books, but they are not like they don't know anything, but why? But I did mean they were physical books. They don't have time going. So those are some of the advantages that can be pointed out. Projected media, we already talked about already, slides, films, allow students to view the same material at the same time, offer students other perspectives of the material. Okay, because it's projected media, it's easier for you to, show different sides of what you want to show. What else? Yes, characteristics of projected media or formats. We have got examples there. We're talking about transparencies. Transparencies are now those whereby you have seen chimakaga the good photocopier. Transparency is chimakaga you have seen it. Chimakaga paper like plastic like this. Now you go somewhere where like palichina kichaka this pali light. Then mbanga paper japa light ujega baga ibo this projector like this. Ukateno you move it, you also put another. So it's relatively economical. When you say relatively, it's not cheap, but relative as compared to if you think about maybe other formats like if you think about let's say a comparison, you can compare to what? Okay. If you think about it, because I'm thinking of, what can we say? Okay, if you think about it like the way what I'm doing here, whereby I'm using a computer, right? Computer is expensive. For you to have a computer to be able to project this is expensive. This transparency, you don't have to have a computer. You just have to have that machine whereby you can put it there. So although most of the advantages could be just similar to projected media, most of them, like relatively easy to prepare. I know that's relatively, you can show it to a group, maybe even of 300 a group, because you can just enlarge the size of where you're projecting it to. This is a large or is similar to that one. I think it's most of these are similar to what we talked about on the projected media. So what else is different here? Able to skip material. Okay, handouts available. Okay, if you have the, as you say, it's just projected. If you try to, in a soft copy, that is right. If you want to have like the PDFs, let me say even not just PDFs, even the presentation, like PowerPoint presentation, you can have it and share it. But if you think about the other requirements, which could be disadvantage, you need a projector, you need, okay, so needing a projector, damage can be damaged easily. You need somebody, it should be done properly when you are preparing it. Yeah, but these are just some of the advantages. I know it's not just the only means that you can be used. It's not that popular, that is, but we just have to appreciate it. Slides, so this is just exactly the slides, right? That what you're using here. So relatively expensive, need skill on photography, lights off. Okay, so because they say that lights off meaning is a slide, there should not be too much light. But if you imagine if it's too much bright light, you can't see this, right? I know this is like formal because we talked about it using a chalkboard like informal, whereby it's as if you are doing it casually. This one is a little bit formal. I think you have seen it when you have got my meetings. Actually, suit. Do they go back to blackboard? Something like this, because this is formal. They don't expect you as a board. So this is a little bit formal. That's why we say formal is impersonal, because what is informal? It's like it's personal, whereby no wonder I'm full interaction with one. It's like personal. While this one could be just wabwera mutu kuli president kuli danuku akupaka present sakumuza mutu bozi akukuza grow center bozi doesn't go dole mu very much. Okay, we have been doing this we also been doing this bila kuza by investors, so it's that if you have you want to to have a lecture on the formal setting. College. No wonder here we have this. Because I should be the formal setting. I know we were using that before, but we are now being upgraded to say, okay, somebody should be feeling good. Okay, I'm at a formal place, right? Whereby you are having my slides, something like that. So what else here? Okay, so I think that's what I'm saying, that you can argue. Here the second cannot be changed or kept updated, meaning instantly, maybe, right? Because you need to do a process, right? But here again, that by 8, irritated. And also Busiba, I'm going to pass also 8. But go better without seeing. What's the time? Okay, so that's what I'm saying, that here you're going to argue because they say cannot be changed or kept updated. But I'm saying you're going to argue in the sense that this could apply to maybe I'm presenting here. I've made a slide. I cannot update it immediately. If I want to update it, it means I have to go and later do another slide to edit it. Don't immediately what I'm presenting. Usually people, they don't do that, right? But it's not that it's not possible, because if it's a slide, it can be possible, but it's not usually done. And here say pictures don't waste, in the sense that here we can see that we're using words, but usually we have to put them in large font, right? So it works, but you have to struggle to read. No wonder we cannot just show you this, because it do not make sense. So we have to come here and explain why we're showing you this. But if you can have pictures, it's simple. So this one is much more, effective when you are just showing images. What we have been doing on our project, then the this as a picture where you are doing. So it's easier to talk about that. But if you say people have come here, then you put what I've done here, then you let them start reading. It will be a little bit tough for them without explaining, to be reading as if it's a book. So that's something like one of the characteristics of this one, whereby it's much more effective with pictures, as opposed to words, right? Although I'm saying that we use them in this situation because we have to explain. And when we are saying words here, and I think maybe you can even double down, because when you say words, you could even say we are talking about like I have to use words out. No, I'm not including the voice there, void notes, but I'm just saying separately, talking about the same clip. So maybe that could be the thing. Let me just quickly projected media now. When you're now thinking about, because this one was a slides, this one now projected media, which is films, video, DVD, VCD. So relatively expensive, that could be a disadvantage, right? Need specific skills to prepare, right? Because I don't think that you will say I'll make a film for teaching anyhow. You need to have an expert to create something like that, right? Even to operate the equipment used to that can be used to show this. Usually you have no wonder in the schools you have a department called audiovisual department with an expert work audiovisual, right? Like here, this gentleman who comes and install this is the audiovisual department, audio and the visual. So for you to just say, okay, can you install this? You have a problem, but there should be an expert. So that's what happened here. Here is also the same situation whereby you prepare it, for you to change it. It's a little bit almost impossible. It's possible for a long time. You mean you're going to go and try to edit, but it's a process, but not immediately that you have shown something, then you change it. So that would be a bit different. Here, what the real world is just like whereby it's easier to even show the actual situation or what is there, because others you are like you depict parts of it. For example, in a picture, normally when we show a picture, if I'm showing you a picture of this school, can you show all the size of this school in one picture? You just say, okay, this is picture of you, the real. It's easily normally going to be one side or just a few sides. So you can say that, okay, I've seen it the way it looks like, but it's not everything. Maybe there's a difference somewhere. But the video, you can show it. You just take a camera, then you move around, you actually show the way it is shown in the real environment. So it's an advantage, because if you are teaching, using it for teaching now, people are going to appreciate how actually that particular maybe subject is, because they will see everything, right? While with others, you have to choose the parts, what you're going to show. To say, I'll show this part or I'll show the other part. And I know here maybe they didn't include it. Demonstration is another maybe advantage. It's easier and it could be effective when demonstrating, especially some other complex maybe tasks, whereby when you're explaining to them, it can be a little bit tougher for people to understand. So if you can use this type like a video, film, I think it will be easily understood. Again, here also maybe an advantage as a media, if you think I'm taking it as a media, a large number of people, right? Whereby film, you can use the film to show it. I mean, it's the properties of these. If you think about film, you see the way it's been shown, video, VCD and DVDs, because this VCD and DVD can be easily duplicated, to give it to so many at the same time. So there would be advantage, and also the number of people you cover, so it could also be, but it can be arguable. So this is for PowerPoint, although it's also similar to the slides, right? But this is specific on the PowerPoint. I think you can see the advantage and the disadvantage. They're a little bit expensive. They say that because as opposed to what, because you need to think about it. Okay, if you are targeting so many people, right, as the way we have talked about it, then it's inexpensive. Meaning it's not that expensive because you just have one maybe gadget like a computer, and what you're going to be showing it with, then most of people will see them. If you think about, maybe let me think about what could I compare it with, or if you think about real things, maybe that could be compared to real things, that you want people to appreciate something, then you should buy. If it's a particular maybe material, you should buy that particular material for everyone to have it. So in that perspective, you couldn't say that is expensive, right? But still, you have to justify it. Why? How? Because it's in other. If you compare it to others, it would be regarded to say it's expensive. But if you compare it to another type, it would be viewed as a little bit cheap, but not cheap, but just relatively, right? As the others also, they need specific skills to prepare, to operate. Also, can be okay. Okay, so this you say, that's why I say I was conflicting it with the slides, because say this one, if you want to update, I know in real time you can have problems sometimes if you say presenting it'd be awkward, but since it's a slide, it's a PowerPoint, the way it was designed, because you could have maybe slides that are not PowerPoints. If they were, I've never used others, apart from PowerPoint. But the way I know PowerPoint is editable, right? You can edit it if you want, so the update can be possible. And maybe the advantage of PowerPoint is what has been talked about here. When you use almost different formats of the media, right? You can have words there, you can have pictures there, you can have animated there, even a video, you can have a video, you can have sound. Usually we don't use sound, but I can have a video, I can play it, you can play. I can put an audio. So it has got that advantage whereby it's like, it accepts multimedia, because this is what is called the multimedia, right? It can be used in the multimedia, right? Many type of the forms of media, many text, video, animation, sound, video, or many pictures can also all be used at the same. You don't have to have software in a if you want to show it as a slide. You can just have the same PowerPoint, then have a clip here. It will show. So that's an advantage. And even saving is easy to be saved, because the way you save PowerPoint is as if you're saving Word document. Despite that, maybe video. When you think about most of the media for platforms that have handle multimedia, you take time to save a file, right? While if you have PowerPoint, it was simplified. It's a little bit easier. Also, even the size, and even when you want to copy it into other media platforms, it's easier. What else? I think just taking time here. Okay, so web page, this is like when we talk about the hyper element, but this is if you have got a material that you want to use the web or the website. Or an example here already started with the multimedia. That's an obvious one, whereby on the internet, if it's a web-based instruction, right, it can handle various forms of media, right? You can have all the formats of media that you can put them there. And it's also convenient for travel, meaning you don't have to worry that where you're going to get them, because you just upload it on the internet, right? I think it's easier. You see the way people share new films. When the films are released in the USA, it just take a few hours. People have it there in Malawi because of the internet. Somebody just upload it. So here it's easier for you to even to access, right? But the disadvantage is you need internet access, because this is web-based. It means you have material, you have to use the internet to communicate, right? So if you don't have the internet, it's a problem. And you can even think about it, even the signal is poor, it can be also the problem. There's the problem of non-structured presentation, right? It's not structured in the sense that it uses hypertext or hyperlink, right? So the problem of hyperlink is, when you have a page like this on the website, you have said them before. If you are talking about the computer, now there's a certain page that is talking about the computer. You can have a link on the computer, under the computer there, you see like a blue line, right? That when you click, it's going to take you to a page that is talking about the computers. And you also have different links on different areas. Now, when somebody is ready, there's going to be big temptation that whereby you are going to click to end up somewhere else rather than being on one place. And usually, it's not structured in the sense that in the internet, the way you structure your material, you don't put everything there. You can have a page like this, then you have links on the site, whereby somebody has to be clicking to say, I want to see the benefits. Click. Okay, I've seen the benefits. I want to see what. So you have titles. So somebody can start by seeing the titles, right? Or maybe there's no wonder if you have a newspaper online. I would say that the online paper is not where we see like in Malawi currently, whereby we're having Daily Times, Nation, somebody just take a PDF and upload it. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Because if you take a PDF, it will be acting as it's a print format. You are going to be starting by page 1, page 2. See, you're opening a PDF. While online, the way people navigate online, you don't start from page 1. Newspaper online, even a page like this. The ikala link hapo kukuza kuti front page. Ikaso the link kukuza kuti sports. So probability yokuti utagambira pa sports is high. You can click pa sports first. Or because there are links, utamuza kuti you are on another page and the people wanasanga panza unakuza sports and the link is linking this sports page yao. So click to the other page uzatulukira ku sports page. So if you decided kuti akabona newspaper asabira kuna front page, you can be fooling yourself. No wonder the way when you are designing online for designers who know what to do, what they do. Each and every page is supposed to have a link, front page, by headlines also. I will not color to all the links. Kuti if you want to get up a page sports, uzita wazo kuti headline t-shirt ya newspaper ili hapa uzozoona zizozoneka ukuduke because if they don't see them, you end up being per sports page, finishing there, you go elsewhere. You're not going back to the front page. You don't do that. While print, maybe that could be an advantage of print. You are guaranteed kuti mutakagira newspaper ya print ama yambira kuona front or back. No one can lie kuti ndandika newspaper, sit down the front, sit down the back, that was secular cut. Who has done that? Everybody can get newspapers either on the front page or the back page. Then you are guaranteed those people who design my papers. It's a separate magazine. When we are designing it, they go to the front page. Front page. No wonder the front page is much more decorated, good picture. When you open inside, it's dull. But you're going to buy it because of the front page. But online, it's different. That's why if you go to in our journalism, in the past, it was just the print media and electronic media. And when we were talking about the mass media, in the past, we were differentiated pali print, pali electronic, immediately radio, the TV. So it was like Malatatu. But the internet now, which is now called the new media, some would say interactive media, has completely changed everything. Because when you talk about print, we know, okay, print is on the paper, they moving images. Okay, if it's electronic, it is using electronic gadgets, right? Radio, TV. Okay, radio is different because radio you just hear, you don't see. Those were the characteristics. TV you hear and see, but now it's different because when you go online, always at the same radio in the website, and when you go on the website of radio nowadays, always a good podcast. Podcast is now it's a quality many boy with one that take for radio, because people are saying one of the disadvantages of radio, you can't rewind, you can't go back to what has been said. But nowadays, because of the podcast, you can rewind. Because when you go on the page, online, by the podcast of all the programs, meaning you can go and the programs only they were done yesterday, you can listen to them. Two, by links, but even the links are text, it's a newspaper. Now, Papa Kano, my audio, I was just talking about now, they are also my videos. You see nowadays, people, they'll be in the radio station now, they'll have cameras, But even nowadays, a lot of podcasts online, the Breakfast Club and all these, whereby they are in the radio station, They do all the things, radio and the TV. Now, there is an element of multimedia because of the internet. It's whereby people, even the radio, is able to have videos, is able to operate as if it's not a radio station. So that's how web-based environment is. It's a little bit now a complex environment, and it has got advantages, a lot of advantages. But the thing is, on the structure presentation, that's where the problem is. Because you can't plan the good, okay, as I'm going to slide one. If you check my slides online, You can decide kuti ababa they are going to slide number 10. They are there. You see them one slide number 1, number 2, number 3. But when I'm presenting here, can somebody decide, whoever is or yourself, can you decide to see slide number 20? You wait for me to show you slide number 1, number 2, number 3. That's how the difference is. While if it's online, people will select what they want. They will even jump up a slides. I'll put a slide number 50. You can't put a slide number 50. The slide number 20. Then you can't even connect. Because what slide number 50 is saying is linked to other slides. So if you start by slide number 50, you're going to get confused, right? So that could be a disadvantage on the web-based instructional materials, right? Although the capability of having, we can say a large library, it's like a large library because the internet is a large library. You have got almost every materials there. Google, when you Google, you have almost everything. So it's an advantage. You are able to search for materials. You are also able to even reference. Wava kana kufuna uone video YouTube, uona video. So you have got all, because of the ability of having a multimedia formats, you are able to check the video, to listen to the audio, to read. So that's one of the big advantage. And yet there's no limit of space and time, and also interactive. This is now one of the advantages, whereby people are able to interact with whoever is giving them information, right? Some even the people, writers of the books, you would find them there, and even text them about their book. There's no way you can be library. It can't happen, right? So that could be an advantage. Okay, what time is running out? I'll just do quickly. I think you check. This is audio. Let's add up. This audio cassette and compact. Allow students to hear other languages and or the dialects. Allow auditory learners to review. Okay, so for the sake of whoever is listening, audio media. Just in brief, you have examples of like cassettes. And I think this was a little bit old too. But nowadays, we talk about cassettes. And even if you ask, is it called Gen Z? They don't even know what a cassette is. Because I saw a certain clip, somebody a father gave a boy a cassette. And he was asking him, we were listening to music using this. So he was giving him and telling him, can you tell me how it was being done? And the kid was taking it, putting it on the ear. And he didn't even know anything. He didn't know that you take it and put it on the Saturday radio. And it was like, okay, they're not even completed. No. And so I think the cassettes, just on. Even compared to discs now, they are gone. Unbelievable. DVDs are gone. But nowadays, when you talk about the flash disc or the card, memory cards, everybody do memory card. We have got memory cards. People they buy. Right? So it encourages creativity through music. Yeah, so I think this one is whereby if you go to Montessori, we can wire this up, as if so if you want to teach them like issues to do with the sound, that is involving sound, like it's music, or you want them to appreciate the certain sound material, it's advantageous for them. And if it's just audio media, it means it's special for audio, right? Because when you have like a multimedia, it's complex. If you think about that, it has also video. It would need very complex material equipment. This one, you just have to have a player somewhere, and where you have the material. Audio material again. So I think you don't have to talk much about this, but it's straightforward. But what else? You have different formats. That's maybe an advantage, whereby you could put them in very different formats. I know if the videos is the same, they are able to be compressed, right? You can have the file that is big, you compress it into a very small file to share to many people. You can also even share nowadays easily using my Bluetooth. Now, okay, Bluetooth, you are sharing, you have CDs, right? Um, so they could carry a narration that explain a concept or a principle that simply provides a body subject of information, right? But you could also find that there are disadvantages to this. Um, but there are more advantages that you could see, especially when you think about the educational system here in Africa, right? There's a lot of use of print and audio materials, and rather than this, I mean projected, but usually audio, print, and maybe real things, right? But like, just have time is has run very fast. Okay, I'll just use 3 minutes to wrap up what I wanted to say. Like the next symbol was supposed to be motion media, which is television, video. And I think in our course of the presentation, I've been talking about it, maybe advantages of this, right? Yeah, because if you see video, maybe the biggest disadvantage could be formats, right? Because the video formats are different, but most of them, I mean, most of the video players do not accept some specific formats. They have got this, a specific format that they are require. Imagine even in our computers, we have to have VLC. Because we say VLC plays a lot of formats, but most of the, like in Windows Media, most of the formats, new films, they are not compatible with Windows Media, right? So that's a problem. But you could think about advantages, because it's video and television. It's, it's easier for you, for people even to you don't have to explain more, right? You just have to show them and people will observe, right? Observe what is happening, and the process of learning could be easier, right? It's through that. So it's best for demonstration. Right. Okay, some of these I think you're going to see. I'm going to share this slide. I can't go through all these points, but the thing is, as I'm saying, it's easier for you to just think about the nature of television and the nature of the video. There are so many advantages, and there are so many disadvantages. Just be practical. That if you are told to say, okay, you want to teach some other group of people using a video, what could be a challenge? Can you manage to say, okay, right now I'm going to do it? What do you need? What is important? Maybe difficult to get. What is not difficult to get? So you could see advantages. You could see disadvantages. Okay, what could be the benefit for them if it could be shown in a film or show a video? What are the disadvantages, right? So yeah, I mean, you could say most of the disadvantage, some of the disadvantage could be if you could use a film or video without someone narrating anything. If there would be some points that are not understood, it would be a problem for people to get the clarification, right? It's like books, right? You get the books, the order is not there. Somewhere you're not understanding. I don't know if you have ever tried to search who, like the authors of the books, who wrote this book, Dominic, and try to look for him. Can you find him? Then you find him and he will answer you. That, okay, there I meet this. It's a little bit a problem, right? So you could have certain situation in this too, whereby if it's just a presentation and if you have some unexplained scenes, it would be a problem for them to I mean, for students to understand. Oh, it's almost time. Let me give you this. I'm just wrapping up the problem because I ate a little bit, but I will share this so that you will finish the other part just browsing through. But it's most of these, as I'm saying, you can even guess, right? You don't have to just read. You can even just think about it to say, okay, this could be an advantage, this could be a disadvantage of this. And which ones could be much more effective? You compare one or two, and you see that this could be expensive or not, right? So little area is talking about real things, examples of rural area. I think in here we can remove music here. I think this music it needs a lot of explanation, but it could have toys, maps, manuals, utility bills. If it's going to be music, it should be maybe actual, maybe printed one, right? Recipe books, stuffed animals, office supplies. So you have all this. I think I'll remove all that. The benefits. These are the benefits of using real things. Um, Motivate students by making them have fun and all others. So I think when we are going to start the next class, you are going to go through these. We can just brainstorm on this. We have got real things, then we have got the modified real things, then we have got the unmodified real things, then the specimen, then hyper. I think we've talked a little bit about it, but those are maybe the parts that you're going to. I'll share the slide that you go through. We'll start from there. The next class. So I think we can end here for today, and we can call it. Is it a day or call it a what? The morning. Still a day. Right. Okay, I think I'm done with this. The gadget have to be perfect. Let me see where they are from. Right. Let me just pick this up.